did you become an entrepreneur?
I became an entrepreneur because I wanted to be in charge of my life. I wanted to be in control. I had great jobs in corporate America, and the best job I ever had, I worked for a lady who we were over a couple of states, and she was my boss. And she used to frequently say, are you sure we can do that? I don't want to look bad. And I used to hate that. I cringed every time she said it because my personal life philosophy is I don't care about looking good. I only care about being good. And so she, with that, she used to just constantly, image was everything. And to me, results was everything. And I just hated this. It's like, I hate this world. It's like, oh, the vice presidents are coming next week, so we really have to rehearse what we're going to say to them. They really just want to know how much we sell, how much we're selling, and how much we're going to sell next year. I don't need to sound pretty. I just need to have an answer. And it drove me nuts. I hated it. And so, you know what? I said, I can't take this anymore. And I'd already been an entrepreneur before that, but now I knew why. And it's like, because I want to go and produce results in a marketplace that appreciates it and values it, and those results speak for themselves.
So you want to control.
I wanted control. I wanted control over how I deliver to my customers.
What about you?
Funny enough. So I did hate that about corporate, right? Because obviously I worked in manufacturing. So for us, it was 10 times worse. It wasn't just the speech you were going to get and the clothes you were wearing. You had a 250,000 square foot building that you had to clean everything.
Oh, see, yeah.
Like you're running around and you're like, you got to clean this up, move those boxes. That's got to be straight. What about this? What about this? And it's just like,
the dog and pony show.
It was the dog and pony show. Always a dog and pony show. And I hated that for sure. I hated the image thing. It was like, can we just solve some problems? But what I think really, like the thing that really pushed me over the edge, because first of all, I told somebody this the other day.
You told the person at Whole Foods.
Is this because he tried to get me to work at
Whole Foods? The guy at Whole Foods would check it out, and he goes,
like,
because he's bagging for him, because the guy was a little slow. Sorry if you're watching. The guy was a little slow at bagging, and Zach's like, I'm trying to get home. So he's like, let me bag for you. And the guy's like, you could work here and save 20% on those groceries.
And I promptly told him, I'm a very bad employee. And he's like, I'm kind of grumpy too. I said, I didn't say I was grumpy. I would be very pleasant, but I have, He
goes, I don't follow the rules
I don't follow rules well.
Ooh.
They don't like
that.
They
don't like that here.
I'm
Sorry,
like,
Whole Foods.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. They don't sponsor us.
Don't worry. None of them do. It's okay. It's kind of a thing. So anyways, like I probably always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur because like my first job was pouring concrete. And I thought for sure, right, because I was pouring concrete while I was still in high school. I thought for sure, I was like, I'll stay in this. This is a pretty cool gig. I get to work outside. I get to go to new places. I like working with my hands. And I thought that I was just going to transition into running my own thing, right, and having my own, because it would, like, they make decent money, right? So that's what I thought was going to happen. A whole bunch of other stuff happened, which I'm not disappointed about. But I
mainly because he got to marry me. Just saying.
Yeah, that part,
of course.
But I roll up into corporate, right, as a machine operator and quickly excel into other things. And the thing that burned me, and I could never get out of my head was, so I ran this project as a supervisor, right? So like, I'm not a manager. I'm not somebody, like, we had bonuses and stuff, but I'm not like, I have day-to-day things. I'm still hourly salary, right? I'm still there, not normal 8 to 5. Like, I'm on a shift. And I ran this project, and we finished the project, and we implemented, like, the idea that I basically came up with. And it improved yield, right? In a production facility.
Right.
So if anybody understands what improved yield does, improved yield is pretty much straight to the bottom line because you're eliminating waste in something that you're already doing. Right. So it literally goes straight to the bottom line. And the engineer guy that I was working with basically calculated it, and he's like, yeah, that's probably going to be $1 million a year year over year at the current rate. So as they add machines, that number will go up because that efficiency, that yield continues to grow as you add more machines. So basically,
So that's pretty good then.
It's $1 million. Yeah, whatever. You're hilarious.
Thank you.
Right? So, okay, supervisor, run this project, $1 million a year, straight to the bottom line, profit. We come around and it's raise time, right? And
Bonuses.
Not bonuses.
No,
bonuses are already set. That's fine. I don't like it's class, tiered up based on your position. But now it's okay. It's raise time. There's 7 other supervisors.
Right.
Because there's 2 per shift. Guess what? I got a 3.1% raise. Well,
Oh, heck no.
Well, I know because Lord knows people. Oh, heck no is right. Everybody talks. The only people there's a couple night shift people that weren't that great.
Right.
And were just doing the stuff. They were just doing their day-to-day stuff. They got a 2.9% raise.
Oh, no.
So me and
you got
so
0.2.
So me and one other guy got 3.1% raises because he had run a project that was fairly not as successful as mine, but it was still a good project.
You got 0.2% more than the sucky guys.
And wait a minute, that's only 2 people. The middle 4 got 3%, so we only got a 0.1% raise, better than that.
So you saved the company $1 million a year,
year over year,
they said,
lasting forever.
Here you go. Here's 0.1.
Oh, see, that's not cool.
And hey, we're going to move you into a better position. None of that.
So did you decide at that point then you wanted to stop solving problems for other people?
I wanted to stop solving problems. I wanted to stop solving. I want to stop solving big problems and getting virtually no return on that
you
problem.
You can't even cut that with a steak knife. I mean, that's a 0.1%. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, I mean, it ends up being I think I tabbed it out. It ended up being $23 a week or something. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Might as well not give me anything.
I'll give you $1 million. You give me $23 a week. Deal?
See, I would have to just to be able to go back to work. I'd have to put my middle finger brace on. That keeps my middle finger intact. I know. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
awful.
you're good. I get it. It was rough.
I'd be going to work. I'd be
at first I thought you meant
hey, everybody.
At first I thought you meant keep it upright.
No. It's to make me behave. It's to keep my
hold it back.
To keep my fist like this.
Hold it. Yeah, I mean, so that was this revelation of I'm a huge lever for them. And I'm not seeing any of that.
Nope.
I get none of that leverage.
Nope.
I was like, I can't do this.
You also you like freedom to do things how you're going to do things. You hate it when people tell you how you have to do things.
Oh,
especially when they tell you to do them in dumb ways. And he knows it.
Yes. Yeah. If we're not going to have a conversation, if we're not going to hash through it, and I'm okay with no, we're going to do it this way. As long as we...
Why?
Yeah, that question's going to get asked.
You know how when your kids when they're in certain ages, I think it's 6 and 7, it's always why?
5 to 7.
Why?
Right.
He's still in that phase.
See, so now, Zach, I'm gonna step in and represent you for a minute.
Okay.
Because Laura is she's having some comedic fun at your expense. I would like to know why you became an entrepreneur, Dr. Laura.
Why I think the question is, can entrepreneurs not be entrepreneurs?
Ooh.
Because the reality of it is I've always gone for jobs that had a little bit of freedom in them. Mm-hmm. I crave freedom. I crave being able to do things when I want to do them.
Autonomy,
mm-hmm.
for sure. Especially after I became a mom,
mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be gone all the day. And I know a lot of people who are fine and they like being out of the house and they like going and being at a job and stuff. I don't he can attest to this. I like working for a little bit and then going and doing something for my kid or around the house or what. And I flow in and out of work. And part of it is because my brain works really well when I'm doing mundane stuff. So I'll go cook dinner and I'll come back. I'll be I got an idea. And he's like, okay, and so I never stop stop working.
Right.
And so I've always gone toward jobs that are like that have a little bit more autonomy built into it. So I was a youth pastor for a while. So, other than being at meetings, like, I had a lot of autonomy in what I did, right? I would go work at Panera, I'd go meet with people, I'd set my own schedule, I'd do my own things. And so, like, I've always leaned toward that. And then really, I became an entrepreneur because my husband,
She didn't have no choice.
like, wants to,
Like,
and so,
to some degree, she did not have an option.
It's where the plane went.
and so, like, I'm either going to go be autonomous, like, have an autonomous type job with somebody else, or I'm going to have an autonomous job where I, like, help my husband. So why would I go help somebody else when I can help him? And he finally looked at me and he goes, "Stop being other people's executive assistant and start being mine." I was like, okay.
I love it.
To a point. And like, the thing is like, there's no way that she couldn't have been, because she was like, Laura's always asking me questions, and we are always having discussions together, right? Like, and I think part of the reason that this happened is because, like, when I was in corporate, like, I was pushing her to go, like, to do some of the business
He was like,
stuff.
"Go start a business so I can leave my job."
Right.
And I was like, come with me here.
Right. And so it was this, like, mutual thing where we were both, like, learning things and working on things and discussing it and doing all that together. So I think it just kind of happened naturally.
But
Yeah.
I think this is true, and I think we can all agree on this, is most people would tell you that they become an entrepreneur because they want more time, they want more money, they want control of their time, control of their money. Like, and it's always around freedom and control, right?
Right.
But you're a business broker. You see people buy and sell businesses all the time. At the end of the day, is everybody, all entrepreneurs, kind of the same in the sense they want freedom or control, or is that the same thing?
Yeah, I would even go one step further. That's a good question. At its most base level, I think every person with a pulse, for the most part, has it in them to be an entrepreneur, but they have reasons to subordinate their inner entrepreneur.
They've been taught.
Like, the kids are young, I need insurance, and I'm not knocking those things. There's no judgment when I say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to do those things. But at some point, there are events that make you go, heck no. I will not subordinate my inner entrepreneur anymore. Whether it's the boss who's making you work on optics, whether it's not getting credit, financial remuneration for your great ideas, whether it's the need for freedom to be able to actually do things that bring you the most joy. Everybody's got that in them. And then finding a problem to solve that aligns with who you are.
Yeah.
Finding a group of people to serve that aligns with who you are, that's the thing. And right now, what happened, probably more in 2020, they had the great, what was it called? The great, where people were quitting their jobs. The great...
Exodus?
Yeah, they were something. It was,
I don't know what they called it.
But it was the great walk-off, or the quiet quitting, or whatever. There are lots of names for it. But I think one of the things that happened is most of the people, not just in America, but in the world, reached a place where they didn't feel like they aligned with the purpose of their employer. And they're like, this feels awful enough that I am out of here. And they felt like maybe through stimulus and whatever, they had opportunities to take advantage of that, and they bolted. A lot of people bolted prematurely when they hadn't identified a market to serve or a problem to solve, and so they had to go back. And my message to them is, don't give up. Just keep looking for that market to serve.
Right.
Keep looking for that aligning purpose. But at the end of the day, find a problem to solve, figure out who you are in the solving of that problem, and then make sure that the messaging that goes through your megaphone is specifically targeted to those people that you're helping, and I believe you will be unstoppable.
It's so interesting because I think you're absolutely right that everybody has that propensity or potential to be an entrepreneur, but typically it really does take something that pushes you over the edge because you're taught to be an employee. That's
You are.
The reality is you're taught from that. Why do you
You
need to
are.
go to school for 8 hours a day? Because you're taught to be an employee.
Yep.
Like, you can read books on it.
training.
You can read, they train you to do that. They train you for the perceived security of a job. They train you for all those things. And you're right, everybody I'm not even saying that doesn't have a good purpose in your life to do that at some point, to learn that. But you're right, at every point somebody hits a why. And to be honest, when I think about it through that lens, one of the other reasons why we did end up becoming, like, building our own businesses is because we lost a couple of kids, right? Like, in utero, like, we had a couple of miscarriages and a stillborn. And what it did is it reminded us of how precious life was. And I remember Zach going, because he worked an hour away, right? Yep. And 12-hour shifts an hour away. So you're gone 14 to 15 hours a day, right? There was times when our son, who's now 10, when he was a kid, he wouldn't see him for 2 or 3 days at a time because he wouldn't be up yet when he went to work, and he wouldn't be, and he'd be asleep already when he came home.
Dang.
Right. So
it's like having Batman for a dad. Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't see him for 2 or 3 days, right? And so I remember him distinctly saying to me, he goes, like, his life, his like childhood is too short for me to be working all this time and never see him. So now our life is, he gets to see him all the time. He comes in the office while he's on meetings and hangs on him, and he like gives him the people's elbow because he's wrestling with it. He's like
I love it.
But coming in and punching me.
Can you imagine?
Sucker punching me in the kidneys.
But how many, like, and like, we're blessed because I get it. Not everybody's in the position that they can do that with their kids. But like, how different would so many things in the world be if
100%.
your parents were present in your life all the time? But what it is they're at school for 8-10 hours a day. You're at work there. I'm at work there, and the family unit is split. Whereas if you think about it, it used to be everybody was on the family farm. They learned there, they ate there, they cooked there, they worked there.
Yeah, the Industrial Revolution
they
brought
fought
it to an
there,
end.
they did everything.
They did everything. But instead, we've ripped the family unit apart and sent them all different directions, right?
Yep.
And so one of the reasons we're passionate about helping people, like business owners and entrepreneurs, is because some people don't want to accept that. And they're like, I don't want that.
That's right.
I want my family together. And that's not everybody, and that's okay. But I don't know.
I mean, like one of the beautiful things is we take a walk every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Normally around 8:30 o'clock, 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, the three of us and our dog all take a walk every day.
That's cool.
Right? Like, and it's fun, and it's just
because of the first 7 years of our son's life, we couldn't.
You couldn't.
Yeah, like I couldn't.
6.
Right. 6 was a majority of it, right?
Yeah, you were gone. You were doing the thing.
I was doing the thing. And yeah, it just wasn't acceptable, right? It couldn't happen.
And I would say this too. Now, if there are any large employers or even any employers listening, if you looked at every person that's on your team as though they were an entrepreneur and tried to provide them a window to be that on your team, what you'd be able to do is about 1,000 times more than what you're able to do with your current team.
And they'll stay longer.
They'll stay longer. Absolutely.
And they'll be happy, and they will, what you're saying, I'll take a bullet for you.
Take bullet for you.
And then when it's time for them to go, because they're entrepreneurs and that time will come, celebrate that. High five them, tell them you wish them the best, be their first customer, do whatever you got to do. Because at the end of the day, the sooner that companies realize that the only best talent available to them is going to come in the body of an entrepreneur and the brain and the soul of an entrepreneur, the better off they'll be, the higher return they'll get from it. And they won't be disappointed when, the time comes to, part ways.
For sure.
That's so good.
For sure.
That's so good.